Come closer, friend. The night is thick, and the wind has a bite to it, but our fire is warm, and the woods, for now, keep their distance. Take a seat. There's room enough for one more. Out here, beneath these ancient trees, stories cling to the shadows like mist. Some are meant to be warnings. Some are just meant to keep you company till dawn. Rest your legs. Feel the heat on your hands and listen close. For in these wild places, the line between myth and memory is thinner than you think. Let me tell you a story I heard not long ago. Two stories, in fact. Stories of the devil's ferryman of Loch Ness. If you've got the nerve, I promise you'll remember it the next time you stand by the shore of the loch at night and hear something move in the water. It might not be our famous wee beastie. There's a part of Loch Ness few speak of, even among the old-timers in Drumnadrochit. It lies beyond the tourist paths, where the trees lean close and the mist clings thick. And if you listen carefully on a still night, you might hear it. A rhythmic splash of oars in the water, slow and steady. And then a voice, low, smooth, ancient, whispers, "Care to cross, my friend?" In the autumn of 1934, a young man named Ewan McRae returned to the Highlands. He had spent years in Glasgow, far from the loch that haunted his childhood stories. His father had been one of the last to speak of the Devil's Ferryman, claiming he had seen the black boat once, moored silently along the misted shore near Urquhart Castle. Ewan had dismissed it all as a drunkard's tale, until his father vanished one November night, walking home from the pub. Now, years later, Ewan stood at the edge of the loch where his father's footprints had once led down to the water, and simply stopped. The village was quiet, the air cold and damp. A strange stillness hung over the water like breath held too long. Ewan lit a lantern and pushed through the undergrowth, drawn by some impulse he couldn't name. Maybe guilt, maybe curiosity, or maybe the loch itself was calling. He reached the shore just before midnight. The moon hung low, casting silver light across the black water. And there, barely visible through the rising mist, was a boat. Long, narrow, and coal black, it bobbed gently without a ripple. No one rowed, yet the oars dipped in and out of the loch with perfect rhythm. Then came the voice, as soft as a lullaby and twice as chilling. "Care to cross, my friend?" Ewan stepped back, heart pounding. "Who's there?" A figure emerged from the fog, tall, cloaked in tattered robes, his face hidden beneath a deep hood. He held no lantern, yet his outline glowed faintly with an otherworldly pallor. "Just a ferryman," the voice crooned. "The loch is wide and cold tonight. I offer passage." Ewan stared at the boat. It looked solid, real, but the air around it felt wrong. Too quiet, too still. "Where does it go?" The ferryman smiled, though no mouth could be seen. "Only where you wish. Across the water, to the other side." Something in the way he said it twisted in Ewan's gut. The other side? Not a shore, not a village. Something deeper. "Have you taken others?" Ewan asked. The figure tilted his head. All who step aboard go where they're meant. Some seek loved ones, others seek truth. All pay their fare. What fare? The ferryman's voice dropped to a whisper.
A soul willingly given, or simply taken.
Ewan's mind raced. His father, his stories, the disappearances. I'm not going with you, he said, backing away. I know what you are. The ferryman stepped forward. But your heart is heavy. You seek answers. You seek your father. I'll find my own answers. The loch surged suddenly, a wave crashing where none should be. The boat rocked once and then stilled. The ferryman did not move. Very well, he said softly. Another time then. I do not forget those who deny my crossing. With that, he turned. The black boat drifted backward into the mist, vanishing as if it had never been. Ewan stumbled away from the shore, heart hammering. He never spoke of that night, not in town, not to friends. But he left the Highlands within the week, never to return. Still, some say on a cold November night, a lone figure stands at the water's edge, watching, listening. And somewhere beyond the mist, the oars still dip, the voice still calls.
You have to cross, my friend.
And if you answer yes, mind your soul, for the devil's ferryman always collects his fare. So Ewan McCrae walked away from the water, heart pounding, soul intact, for now. But you see, stories like this don't just end. Not really. Not when the loch still stirs at midnight. Not when oars still move without hands. Not when the ferryman still whispers through the fog. Because the devil's ferryman, he's got all the time in the world. And once you've caught his eye, he will come back for you. Or someone else. And wouldn't you know it, someone else did come calling. New night, new name, same cold water, same question, floating like a breath in the dark.
Care to cross, my friend?
The moon hung low over the silent waters of Loch Ness, its pale light fractured by drifting mists. Along the shore stood Isla MacLeod, knee-deep in the shallows, her breath puffing like smoke in the chill air. She had journeyed here to prove, or to disprove, the devil's ferryman, a legend older than the crags that ringed the loch. Against her better judgment, Isla had accepted the dare. Wait until midnight and call for the ferryman. He'll come, the old fisherman had warned. His lined face stern. And once you step aboard, you'll never step off again. As the clock in the village bell tower tolled 12, the wind died. The surface of the loch flattened to glass. From the shroud of the mist at the water's centre came a faint splash. Once, twice, and then a soft creak of oars. Isla's heart thundered as a slender boat of ebony wood slid into view, bearing a single passenger. He sat hunched beneath a tattered cloak, oar in hand, but it was his face that froze Isla's blood, both gaunt and featureless, eyes glowing the colour of embers. Behind him, shadows swallowed the boat's stern, as if it trailed in impossible darkness.
You have to cross, my friend,
he whispered. His voice drifted over the water like smoke curling into the night. Isla's throat tightened. The ferryman's offer was no courtesy. It was a demand. Yet something deeper, A mix of dread and morbid curiosity pushed her forward. She stepped into the boat, the wood cold beneath her palm. The ferryman's oars dipped silently. The boat glided away from the shore, slicing through the mist that seemed to coil around them like living fingers. Isla glanced back. The Scottish pines on the bank receded into a wall of grey, and the distant bells fell silent. "How far will you go?" she dared to ask. He paused, shoulders hunched. "As far as your soul can bear." Isla swallowed. The loch lay blank and fathomless below them, and in its depths she felt watching eyes, an ancient hunger. She gripped the side of the boat, knuckles white. I don't want to be lost," she muttered.
A soul is only lost when it believes itself gone,
He replied. His voice had softened, as though echoing from some cavern within the earth. A sudden wind whipped across the water. The mist rolled, revealing something vast surfacing just beyond the boat's prow. A long, sinuous neck and a single, luminous eye. Isla's scream caught in her throat as the creature dove back into the darkness, sending ripples through the loch. The ferryman did not pause. He, too, is hungry tonight. The cloak-shrouded figure murmured, "But I have need of you first." Isla seized the oar at her feet and rammed it into the water, trying to slow their drift. The boat floated on, unstoppable. She turned, trembling. "Who or what are you?" He lowered his hood under the mist. His face was a void. No mouth, no nose, only those ember eyes. "I am every bargain made in fear. I am the last passage you'll ever take." She realised then that the oars had stopped moving. The boat was drifting of its own accord, drawn by some unholy force toward the dark bank on the far side. The land there was only shadow and peat. No village lights glimmered. "Stop!" Isla's voice cracked. She clenched her fist so hard her nails bit into her palm. "Let me go back." The ferryman rose to his full, impossible height, and the boughs of the trees leaned forward, as though eager to consume her. When the ferryman's toll is paid, the water claims its due. In that moment, as the boat lurched, Isla felt something brush against her ankle, a pale, cold hand beneath the hull, reaching up through the depths. She recoiled, losing her balance. The next instant, the boat tilted, and she plunged into the black water. She broke the surface with a gasp, splashing and choking, the night air stinging her lungs. When she kicked to the side, she grasped the slim prow and hauled herself onto the boat. Soaked and shivering, she looked up, only to find the ferryman had gone. The oars lay idle on the floorboard. Ahead, the opposite shore drifted into view, bathed in the first reds of dawn. She scrambled out of the boat and onto the peak, but when she looked back, the vessel, and all trace of it, had vanished into the grey stillness of the loch. She stood there until the sun rose fully, and when the villagers found her, she could speak of nothing but the ferryman's ember eyes and the creature in the depths. They spared her a wary glance, for they knew that those who returned from Loch Ness after midnight carried more than cold and wet clothes. They carried a debt. That debt, they whispered, could never truly be paid. They say Isla made it back, that she stood in the village square at sunrise, soaked to the bone, eyes wide with something no one could name. She spoke little after that, barely ate, rarely slept. But on moonless nights, folks claim they've seen her walking at the loch's edge, whispering to the mist, calling for something, or maybe warning it away. And if you stand there long enough, by the old stones where the wind dies and the trees hold their breath, you might hear it too. That soft splash of oars, and a voice like velvet and grave dust.
Care to cross, my friend?
If you do, best keep your soul tucked tight. The ferryman's always listening. Thanks for joining me round the fire, friends. The loch's grown quiet now, but the night still listens. If you like this tale of mist and mystery, be sure to leave a lantern on with a like, and pass the story along to another brave soul. And remember, some legends stay buried, but others row in circles, waiting. Until next time, keep your feet dry, your wits sharp, and never, ever answer the ferryman's call. This has been Sam Hain, wishing you safe passage through the shadows.